abuse and codependency.
Hi, Judith.
So, please bear with me. Come on, computer. All these problems. Okay. So, I'm going to be starting my testimony. So, my testimony is the day I was conceived to the present. I'm going to read a Bible passage from Psalms 139, 1 through 18. And it says, Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Thou knowest my down sitting and my uprising. Thou understandest my thought afar. Thou comest my path, my lying down, and art acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word in my tongue, but lo, O Lord, thou knowest it altogether. Thou hast been best behind me and before, and laid thy hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain it. Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. And if I make my bed in hell, before thou art there. And if I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even thou shalt thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. And if I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be the light about me. Yea, the darkness hideth not for thee, but the night shineth as the day, and the darkness and the light are both alike to thee. For thou hast possessed my reign. Thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. And if I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right and well. My substance was not hid from thee, when I was made secret, and cursedly wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Thine eyes did my substance yet, being imperfect, and in thy book all my members were written, which in a continuance were fashioned, when as yet there were none of them. How precious are all thy thoughts unto me, O God! How great is the sum of them! If I should count them, then more in number than sin. When I awake, I am still with thee. Holy tamales. Hold on a second. No, something happened. I do apologize for this. My laptop went crazy. I'm sorry. I apologize for this.
It's okay. We're all family.
My Bible hit the letter D. Okay.
Well, I would help you, but I'm computer illiterate.
No,
So
it's okay. I just
you're
got a
better
few
off
more
without me.
lines to do. I really do apologize. Okay. So this is about me, and this is the things that happened to me in my life as a child when I was born. You are not an accident. Have you ever dreamed of being someone else in your life? Or like a stage, being someone important and accepted? Most of us have done these things through our childhood, and I know that I did. Only God knows how our lives should be, or what we are supposed to do or have done, or the choices that we make and how many, the what, the when, the wheres, and the whys. When it was like being in a character on a stage, standing there in the center waiting for the cheers and the applause, trying to fit in to be loved and accepted. Who was I? Where did I come from? And how am I supposed to fit in? From the day God created me in my mother's womb, when my father's egg connected to my mother to make a baby girl. So this testimony that I'll be reading will be about me, how I grew up as a preacher's kid, and how how life took its toll on me when I was adopted into the Dalton Hun clan. I realized that everything about me was not an accident. Like my adopted mother, I was told that I was an accident. I was abandoned at birth. But back then in the 60s, if you have a child or a girl in the Philippines, and if you were abandoned like I was, my mother was in the old self-belief of the old Roman Catholic system. If you're a Catholic, you're never to leave or abandon a child you had. If so, then you are disowned by the Catholic Church. Your family will deny you being a part of the family, and you are not allowed to be buried in the Catholic cemetery with your own other family members. Two Roman Catholics found me in a shoebox. I was 2 days old, 2 pounds, and 12 inches long. I was born in Cebu City in the Philippine Islands in '64. I became adopted at the age of 18 months. I found out that I was the youngest of 13 kids on the birth side of my family. So here begins the story of me, Judith A. Dalton Hahn. That was my adopted name. On my birth side of the family, I was named Maria Alice Rodoria. My mother was Spanish and my father was Filipino. I remember crying day and night as the baby laying in this bed box that I was in. I was crying a lot. Remember, they didn't have incubators like they do now for all premature births. I saw many people come to my crib, and I would cry all the time, wanting to be held. And I looked up, nothing would happen. Finally, a couple was looking into wanting to adopt 2 Filipinos, a boy and a girl. Even though the couple came to saw me first, they went their way to get all the paperwork settled and adopting my little brother Jody. While Jody and I were adopted, we lived in the Providence Islands of Leyte, Tacloban, Philippines. At the age of 3.5 years old, we all came back to the United States to live. My adopted parents were missionaries in the Philippine Islands before my brother Jody and I were even ever born. The day we came back to our new home in Warrenton, Missouri, my adopted mother sat me on the bed and explained, trying to listen to her, heard her say to me, "I just wanted to let you know that you are adopted. I'm not your mother, and you're not my daughter. Your dad and I adopted you because no one else would, and we only felt pity for you. So as for me, being the littlest, my birth side, I'm now the second oldest on my adopted side of the family. So as you hear the words, pity, you're not my daughter, I am not your mother, it really hurts hard. For me, a little child wants a mother's touch to be loved and a dad to be close to. The only thing that I can recall is that my adopted brother Jody and I, we were like 2 peas in a pod. We did everything together, we played together, laughed, we sang together, and we knew that we were not real brothers and sisters, but we were adopted, but that didn't mind us at all. Like many families, and like many have said, there are many testimonies that grew up in a religious home. I did too. I really never knew what my dad was doing all the time. And remember that we got up on Sundays to go to church. We sat in front of the pews and we listened to our dad's sermon. And every Sunday, if we weren't listening, then we would have to look up Bible passages to memorize for the next meal. And if that was not done, then another Bible passage was added on to the first. When I was 5 or 6 years old, I was not listening or paying attention. My adopted mother said, something not understanding, I said no. And the next thing I remember, she punched me in my face and my nose. I felt pain and I cried, and blood was on me. And she threw a rag at me and said, clean up your mess, or you will be grounded. I had to stand in the corner for 30 minutes. She walked away. My whole childhood was like this until the age of 18 years old. I tried smoking cigarettes in 5th grade when I babysat. And I remember my father, when he found out about it, he went to the neighbor's house and took a whole pack of cigarettes. And I had to sit in my dad's office, smoke the whole pack of cigarettes, and then I was finished. Then he sent me to bed. As a child, I was sitting in the pew with a collection plate, and would come by. I was taking money out of it and putting it in my pocket. When my adopted mother saw this, she yanked my hand and spanked me. And then I got more spankings when I got home. And she told my dad what I had done. And then my mother and dad said that I needed to find a switch from the tree in the backyard. I got spanked real hard. I could not sit for weeks because of all the blisters and bruises up and down my back and my legs. I cried and could not sleep. I felt nothing. I did was good enough for my adopted mother. I thought to myself, and said how I looked and what I was doing was not important enough for her to pay attention to me. So I did everything possible to make sure she would notice me. I got into trouble in school for kissing a boy or holding a boy's hand. I was only in kindergarten. One day, I would daydream in class not to do any of my homework. I would sing in my classes, and I got sent to the principal office. I was the rebellious child. For many early years of my childhood life, I grew up doing everything I could to get my adopted mother's attention, but to no prevail. Nothing seemed to work. Oh yeah, Maria means blessed in Hebrew, and I found out Judith in Hebrew means rebellion, rebellious one, and getting into trouble. So it seems to me that God already knew that too, but at the age of 18, I got pregnant, still living at home. My adopted mother, she pushed me down the steps to lose the baby, but my brother Jim, he caught me before I fell down the wooden steps to the cement floor. Dad said I was grounded, and Mom said I was stupid, dumb, a burden, an embarrassment to the community, to the family, to my dad's church. She didn't want me, nor did she love me either. I stayed in the foster care until my baby was born. I was the black sheep of the family, pretty much grounded my whole 18 years of my teenage years. I was cast out into the world alone. For me, I really did feel that way. I was very alone. My parents were very strict on me because of my behavior. I was treated different from my other brothers and sisters. No matter how hard I tried to get attention from my adopted mother, it never worked. I was still not good enough for her. At the age of 19, after having my first daughter, Amy, then having to put her up for adoption, I became an exotic dancer for 2 years. I did what I could to take care of my other two daughters when they were young and were with me at the time. In my early 20s, I was assaulted, raped 4 different times. 3 bad marriages ended in an abusive relationship. I was in a car accident in '94, which left me with my 2 girls. I was paralyzed, chest down. My girls and I almost died from carbon monoxide poisoning in a mobile home. For me, I really thought this was a normal thing to go through. I did not know any better than what I was taught at home. There were many times that I didn't want to live because nothing was going right. I felt that I wasn't a good enough mother to my children, and I thought I could do to be a good mother to my daughters. And then I realized that in my addiction, I could not bring my daughters up into this kind of environment with drugs. My boyfriend was the one who introduced me to this deadly sin of meth. Not sure what to do or what it was or how it did, I did not care anymore. I volunteered my rights over to the state of Washington so that my girls can have a home, a place of stability, a school to go to. Those things I could not do at the time. So CPS gave me 6 months to a year to get myself clean. I lost custody when I found out that they were adopted from the foster parents who took care of them. I was still, and I'm grateful that they had a home and a family that loved and cared about them. I did love my girls, but I was messed up and I didn't love myself, nor did I care about who I was or hurt. I chose the drugs and my boyfriend because I wanted to do me. That now for me was the worst and poorest choices that I ever made. Because of these choices, I had to face the consequences of my actions, and I lost everything that I loved. I started using at the age of 35, off and on, from 1997 to 2007. And in 2007, I decided to get myself clean, not use no more, since I had no one to help me or support me. I had God and Jesus, but I didn't know that they were there, and I needed to start believing that they were, and that I could get myself out of the grave that I dug myself in. I lived on the streets in Seattle underneath the Alaskan Viaduct. I lived in the woods. I lived in a cardboard box. I lived from couch to couch. I was homeless. I ate out of the trash just to find the food to fill me up. I had to learn to survive on the streets for 5 years off and on. I was homeless. I was my worst own enemy because I did not listen to God or Jesus. It was my addiction, wanting to find love and acceptance in the wrong things, places, and in men. But in 2015, I was invited to try out the worship team to see how I would like to celebrate recovery stuff. But I didn't feel like I fit in. I thought to myself, really? I don't need this. I'm clean. I have no problems. But all along, God knew that I would come back to this place of family, peace, belonging, worship, lessons learned, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, love. I went through step study for the first time, and I'm glad that I did. It helped me to learn to forgive myself and the others that I hurt. God already knew all the things that were to happen in my life, and I knew it was time for me to make that change in things and addictions in my hurts, habits, and hang-ups, and start making a change in my life to be a better mother, a grandmother, a sister, a fellow sister and Christian, to encourage and share my testimony to others and let them know that they can change to make a difference for those to see that they can also make it too. For all the newcomers here at Celebrate Recovery, just know and realize, holy smokes. For all the newcomers here at Celebrate Recovery, just know and realize in some way we all have been through this in many similar situations. Some have not. I know that I can make this, and I know that you all can too. By believing and trusting, you can make it. I chose to make it, and it happened. You can make it through all your hurts, habits, and your hang-ups through the love of Jesus Christ and our Savior. Matthew 28:20 in King James Version, it says, teaching them to observe all things soever I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Whew. Isaiah 55:7, King James Version, it says, let the wicked forsake his ways, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return to the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. In John 13:34 in King James Version, it says, a new commandment I have given unto you, that ye love one another, as just as I have loved you, that you also love one another. So my testimony is to let everybody know that you guys can make it. I didn't think I could. But with the faith of God and trusting and believing and having the willpower of Jesus Christ, I made it. August of this year, I'll be clean for 11 years. So thank you very much.
All right, Judith.